Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Ask Me Anything. My name is Yasha Saba and I'm happy to answer your questions today. So let's get started. How do I protect my family assets from my potentially expensive medical costs? I'm 53 years old and I have acquired over $1 million in so far net assets. Congratulations. That's not easy, right? $700,000 in retirement, $400,000 in home equity. I'm still working and will for another 10 years and currently max out my retirement. This is a very good, responsible person. Everyone listening, pay attention. I have life insurance while working, but I've developed a serious cardiac condition and that will likely require expensive medical costs. I'm very sorry to hear that. Yeah, as you get older, these are signs of aging. I have no insurance outside of work and could not get it at this point. I fear everything I have been saving for will be lost and my wife and potentially underage children will be left in poverty. All right, let's think about this. So if something happens to you and you don't have insurance, yeah, that's gonna be really expensive. And now you are working, you're insured, you have good savings, you're making all the right moves, but life has given you a very expensive medical condition. And you're worried that because of your medical condition, you won't be able to get insurance outside from work. Well, that is somewhat true, somewhat not true. So now with Covered California, pre-existing conditions are outlawed. They can't say no to you because of a pre-existing condition. So you should be able to get health insurance. Everyone should be able to get health insurance, regardless of age, regardless of your gender. That is the law. That was Obamacare. That's what we went through hell over high water to pass to make sure you can get coverage. Now, is it going to be adequate coverage? That is a different issue. Is it going to be expensive? Oh, hell yes, it's going to be. So as long as you're working, good for you. Your work is going to cover you. But now you might want to speak with a financial planner or a financial advisor to talk about a new savings plan in order to help cover your costs. Another type of insurance you might want to consider getting to, and you're actually at the right age, 53. By the time you turn, my rule of thumb is 55 and above. Anyone 55 and above, start looking into long-term care insurance. This is not life insurance. This is insurance that while you are still alive, something happens to you and you require some form of care, physical therapy, assisted living, convalescent homes, all that kind of stuff. You need some kind of care long-term. That's what this insurance helps pay for. It usually helps pay and subsidize the first 3 years or 4 years of your cost. It can be a little bit longer, and that's where you can talk to an insurance broker and you can see the cost associated from there. But that's something for you, questioner, asking this question with the heart condition. Yeah, you need to look into long-term care insurance. You need to talk to a financial planner to see what your options are. See if the hospital can talk to you or connect you with a consultant regarding your medical costs. I think you have more financial planning that you need to accomplish than worrying about insurance. Now, in terms of protecting your family, let's talk about this. First, when you say medical costs, this really is just debt. If you rack up hospital bills, if you rack up hospital debt and you need to pay them back, yeah, you've got to use some of your own money in order to pay them. But if you don't do that, if you're not using your money to pay those bills back, what happens if something happens to you? Does that debt travel on to your wife? Does that debt travel on to your kids? Generally speaking, all debt, no matter where it comes from, dies with you. But that's generally. Now let's talk about when you're married. If you enter into some kind of debt or some kind of loan while you're married, in California, we are a community property state. What that means is your spouse acquires your debt as well, or not that your spouse acquires it, but your community property, which is half owned by you, half owned by your spouse, is exposed to that debt. Now, there's a lot of protections, such as the money that you have in your home. Nobody can touch that. You both have personal exemptions from creditors for your homes. The creditors can't come and pull the shirts off your back. We just don't allow that today, okay? But your retirement accounts, as long as they're in your retirement accounts and you're not pulling them out from retirement, those are also protected from creditors. But when you retire and you start pulling that money out, that money is no longer protected from creditors, only the money inside the account. And then when your family inherits the account, that money's not protected from their creditors. So the question is more around, who are we trying to protect from creditors? Is it you? Well, you can't really hide from creditors unless you start making some very expensive moves now before you have these creditors, before you're insolvent. So it's a great question to ask today, where you can start looking into irrevocable trust, self-settled trust. These are not necessarily in California. They're in other states, but as a Californian, you can still set them up. But there's a lot of nuances to that. And you're talking about making a $10,000 plus move, because that's how much it costs to set these things up. And the times that we do want to set these things up is when you actually have a lot of assets to lose. Here, you have a retirement account and your home. Those are protected in their own ways within California. But your savings accounts, other stuff like that, your income from your job, no, that's not protected. And yeah, you should be using that money to help pay your medical costs. And if you can't afford that, that's what insurance is for. So let's look into long-term care insurance and maybe create a savings plan for your medical costs, so it's not that much of a financial burden on your family when the time comes. And to do that, I recommend a financial advisor. Knowing that you have a heart condition, you need to set up an estate plan as well. That means setting up a trust, putting your assets, your home, your retirement, all those assets into trust, so that if something does happen to you, it goes to your loved ones. And we can set it up in a way, or any attorney can set it up in a way where you can protect your loved ones from creditors and shield the assets. But hiding from your own creditors is much harder to do. You can't necessarily do that yourself unless you make a little bit of some expensive moves, okay? All right, let me know if you have any follow-ups from there.